Hello everybody and welcome. This is Sindaf and I bring you another DCS world plane. This is the A-10C. This will be a startup tutorial and takeoff and landing, hopefully, if I can manage that this time. In the previous tutorial we did the Su-25T and the landing was not so successful. I walked away. We could have actually stopped the aircraft and walked away normally, but I ejected. And yeah, that kind of went badly, I shall put it. In this one we shall be using the keyboard and mouse again, because I don't have a joystick. We will be using all the clickable cockpit functions of the A10. It is fully clickable, unlike the Su-25, although I believe they are working on a clickable cockpit version of the Su-25T, and when they do I will be jumping straight into that, because the Su-25 is my favourite aircraft. As low tech as it is, I just love the Russian aircraft. So yes, first things first, you can use mouse to look around and the numpad, but that is a terrible way of doing it in the Su-25. We have a loadout. We have some AIM-9s. On the pylon there we got the TGP, which is the grey cylinder next to the AIM-9s. We got Mavericks, the Maverick Ds, or the AGM. What's their designation? What's their designation name? I check my my old notes here. I've got a flight manual printed out. It's kind of handy sometimes. AGM 65D infrared Mavericks, very useful. Fire and forget. No laser lock-on required. The long ones you see in the center of the aircraft, they are GBU-12s, and the ones underneath are CBU-97s. I think they are CBU-97. Oop, knocked me mic. That's good going. Let's check with the old loadout page. CBU-105, so that's the guided version of the 97. Yeah. The regular cluster, it's a cluster bomb, and the regular cluster bombs don't have guidance. You just drop them and hope. But the 105 and the 103, I think, is it the 103? Yeah, the 103, they have inertial guidance, and we also have the little rocket pod with Mark V rockets, which are HE anti-tank, and the ALQ-131 Lightning, which is a jammer. That's the AAQ-28 Lightning, also known as the TGP. It's a targeting pod. Right, we should jump back into the aircraft, and that's my loadout. I might do a tutorial on how to shoot half of that, or most of that, at some other time, but first off we shall start this puppy up. We'll press left control and C to close cockpit. You can also use a little button down here. You just hold left click to go up, hold right click to go down. Be using a clickable cockpit. My words are failing me today, and I use a shortcut. Right, first things first, to start up we want to turn the battery on, which is this one here. You hear that start, and you also don't turn the inverter on, like that. And we can go ahead and turn the AC generators on for later. That's for when the engines are started up, provide their own power. We also need to turn the oxygen on, which is this green wheel here. Turn that on. Need to come left and also turn the pilot heat on, because you can, I believe, you're supposed to be able to freeze to death up high. Right, and that's making an annoying noise. That's the battery and the inverter. We need to turn the APU on, which help us start the engine, which is this on the next to the throttle. APU start. We turn that on. Let that spool up with these dials here. This is its this is its temperature, this is its fan speed. Wait until that climbs up high enough, we'll get a warning message because it's on and not doing anything useful in a second. And when that happens, we shall turn the APU power generator on, which is this one here. Switch that on when it's spooled up, and that provides power to all the systems. You noticed everything suddenly moved. Alright, what we need to do now is we need to open the fuel valves, and we can start the engine. This one you can't start both engines at the same time. You'll need to, you can do it with a throttle if you've got a dual throttle, but I do not, so this one we have to do through keyboard shortcuts, and that is right alt and home for the left engine. You need to do the left engine first, and that starts up. This is the RPM, this is your hydraulic pressure, and this is the temperature of the engine. That's when it spools up, and you can see it start up there. Of course, we're also supposed to ask for permission to start up, but I didn't. I never do. And it's bad simming of me, but sod it. And that'll start up. And when it starts up, we will get an error. We'll get a warning message about the APU generator, like that. And it flashes the master caution light there. We just click that to clear it out. Tell it to shut up, because we still need the APU on. Right, the RPMs will idle at about 60, and that's when you're ready to start up the right engine, which is right control and home. As you can see, that will start up the RPMs, the hydraulic pressure will go up, and the temperature will rise. Basically, you need the APU. The APU provides a bit of airflow into the engine so that the turbine can start up to start with. And we should wait for that to spool up. And right now, we could have done this a little earlier while starting the engines up. We need to turn the CDU on and the EGI on, which is the navigation systems. They'll start up. We also need to turn on the CICU and the IFFCC, which is the HUD. The CICU is basically the information system. It controls the two MFCDs here, which are the multifunction colour displays. I even got that right. I am impressed with myself. And we need to turn those on as well. You just left click to go into night, and then day, or you can right click to go straight to day. Everything, most switches have two functions, the right and left click. When you turn on the, when you left click the IFFCC once, it will go into test mode, and it will say engage pre-flight bit test. We just press enter here, and that will do a test. Right. Now we're being slow about things. We've got the engine spooled up and running, so we can turn the APU off and the APU generator off, and that will clear that caution light there. Because we've got the AC generators on, the turbines are now providing power for the aircraft. Right, the CICU has booted up, and we've got the display going. This is a DCS upload page,
pull up.
Basically loading all information about the mission and weapon stores.
Altitude.
Don't worry about those, that's just the pre-flight bit testing the warning systems. And you just click this one to load all data, and if you've got a little message down here, you just click the ACK button there to clear it out, and it just gets rid of it. It's not necessary, but what caution lights we got? Okay. Anti-skid and signal armed. Anti-skid is for the brakes on the wheels so they don't lock up. You just click that one up there. For the seat, just a little lever down here, that arms the ejection seat. Now that we've got the engines running, we can engage the SAS, which is a stability system. You flick all 4 of these on. There's autopilot systems back here behind the throttle, which are needed to... there's 2 switches back there you need to flick on for the autopilot to work, but we'll do that in a minute. I can't look back there because the throttle's in the way. Now that the upload is done, basically when you click load all, these little circles here will disappear, and then when they come back it means it's all loaded up. So on the right one we'll go to the CDU, and this is your navigation data. We've got this here is the amount of time that the navigation has been aligning. This is how long it's been on, and this is its accuracy. You want to get this down to 0.8 for the autopilot to work fully. You can turn it on about when it's on 1.6, but it might make some mistakes. So that takes about 4 minutes. This is time in minutes. That takes about 4 minutes to load up properly. And on the left page we just go to the TAD, which is our map basically, and that should, and when you did the DTS load, that loaded in the map. If you don't do the DTS upload, this will be black, I think. I'm not sure because I've never done it. You won't have any waypoints either. And the button next to that is the DSMS, which is the Digital Stores Management System, basically your weapons. And we'll come to that some other time when we actually look at the weapons. You also got TGP, which is the little lightning pod inside. You can either look at that from the left or the right screen. There we go. Our navigation is aligned to the highest accuracy possible, which is 0.8. And when that gets to 4, it says the inertial navigation system is ready. So you can click the nav button, and that engages navigation systems. The only other thing to do, the pre-flight bit completed, so you just hit enter for exit and then come back down to the IFFCC switch and flick it up. And you've got your HUD display. It's not quite complete though, we just need to come down here behind the stick and click the EGI button. And that gives you your proper navigation. We just turn that over to TGP because I don't like looking at the screen. Right, what else to do? Countermeasures. Countermeasures are on this panel here. You flick all the switches up to turn them on, and right click the dial. You got first right click is standby, and you got manual, semi-automatic, and fully automatic. In fully automatic, it will detect the type of target and dispense countermeasures accordingly. It doesn't work so well for IR because it can't detect an IR signature. It just detects the radar lock of whatever shot it. We need to also uncage this, I can't remember what it's called. Standby attitude indicator, that's the one. You just scroll wheel down until it unhinges, and that's level. We need to flick on the JTRS, which is the joint... I can't remember. It's required to link all the systems together for waypoints and weapons management. I can't remember what JTRS stands for at the moment. And yeah, almost done. We've got radio systems over here, which would be useful for actually contacting the control tower. You've got the VHF radio, just right click for TR, transmit. The UHF for talking to other aircraft, put that into main, which is a right click, and another UHF radio here, turn that into transmit. If using easy communications in the options menu with radio assists, you'll need both checkboxes on for it to do it for you. When you're using the communication menu, it will automatically use the correct radio, and the correct frequency for that radio. So you can actually talk. Otherwise you'd have to input the frequency on one of these and then use the shortcut or whatever you got set up for the mic switches, which I think defaults to control and... Actually, I've got this written down because I can never remember. Left shift and numpad minus. That gives you your VHF FM radio. That's mic switch aft. Mic switch down is left alt and numpad minus, which gives you a UHF radio for talking to ground troops or ground units like JTAC, which is the Joint Task Force. You've got mic switch forward, which is left alt and numpad plus, which gives you your VHF AM radio. I don't know, I haven't learned the difference between the AM and FM radios for what they talk to. I think the FM talks to things like aircraft like the tanker and AWACS, and the AM radio talks to aircraft control towers, I believe. And the other one, the left shift and numpad plus, does nothing. Right, we need to get behind the throttle for the autopilot switches, so we're going to hold W for the wheel brakes. We're going to use numpad plus to increase the throttle so it gets out of the way. And we'll just flip both of those on and put the throttle back down again. And that has cleared the rest of the lights on the panel. Down here you've got access to navigation data, just in case you don't want it on that screen. And this is for your waypoint management. Yeah, breaking my voice now. It's not good. Here you've got TACAN, which is airfield location, and ILS for your instrument and landing systems. Various runways have different ILS frequencies, and only a few runways have a TACAN channel for location. I think only 3, Kobaliti being one of them, which is where I'm at. Here you've got lights, all your light systems, mostly internal. Here you've got external lights, formation, position and anti-collision. They're all off at the moment. I should turn them on, and maybe I won't, fair enough, suit yourself. That's because my position lights are off, I think. We put those onto steady with the right click. No, yeah, oh. Why won't I turn on? Probably because that's off. No. Alright, screw it. You don't need lights really. That's just for if you happen to be playing multiplayer, it can be easier to spot aircraft, friendly or otherwise, if they've got the lights on. So if you don't want to be spotted, you turn them off. Formation lights, that will probably actually work. No, it won't, because the lights are off, which is kind of aggravating. But never mind, they'll come to that another time. Most of the time in missions, the lights will be on. And yeah, other than that, we got the master arm switch for the weapons, laser, and the TGP, which will need time to start up. It'll require a couple of minutes to align. And also, if you're carrying Mavericks, you hit the Mav button and align those. That takes 3 minutes. And yeah, that's about ready. You can either use this little switch here to change flaps, or press F. F goes down, left shift and F goes up. You got a gear lever, you got a flight recorder, I don't think it has a use other than the little green light. You've got emergency wheel brakes there. That turns off anti-skid because it needs to lock the wheels. And this lever here is emergency deploy the landing gear, I think. It's the auxiliary landing gear handle. So if they're damaged and they don't deploy, you try and put your gear down and pull that, and it will pop them out. You can't ever put them back in again. I think that's what that handle does. Here you've got your fuel gauge, and you can cycle between the display if you've got any external tanks or wing tanks. This is how much is in the wing. A bit of fuel does sit in the wing, and that's how much is in the main fuselage, and it combines the two for internal. And you got external wing and external exterior, which is it goes on the bottom in the middle between the two cluster bombs there. As you see, the TGP is now started up. It starts off in standby. Here you got emergency canopy eject, and this little one here is your boarding ladder, just for display purposes. Really, you can't actually step out unless you eject. And that should be everything. Here you've got the air refuel nozzle on the front. That opens up slowly for air refueling, but I haven't tried that, so I can't do a tutorial on that. And that is all the systems needed to start up and in order. We shall taxi the runway since we asked, and we shall take off. I believe, no, you cannot use page up and page down for throttle, because they have other functions. So it's plus and minus on the numpad. Unless you've got a joystick with a throttle, you don't need to... Oh, I forgot about that one. You need to press insert on the keyboard to turn on the nose wheel steering, because it's not on by default. Before I balls that one up. And X and Z again for rudder control. You don't need to go too fast in the A-10 because it is quite wobbly when it's loaded with weapons. So if you come around this corner at the end here too quickly, you'll just put it onto the wing and break things. As long as you're rolling, your W for wheel brakes. I should probably say these things before I use them. And you're supposed to wait just here before the runway. The A-10's wheel brakes are a lot better than the SC-25's. Wait before the runway and request takeoff.
Request takeoff.
You don't have to, you can just sit on the runway, but if there's other aircraft flying about,
Unable to clear for takeoff.
you probably don't want to sit on the runway in their way. It always unable to start with, I don't know why.
You are cleared for takeoff and ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.86.
Basically they just want me to climb 300 feet after I take off, and the QFE is the barometric pressure at the runway, which is labelled here. It's 29.86, and this little wheel here you can scroll to change the pressure of the runway, so that the altimeter, which is this one, displays correctly. This is your climb, obviously. Airspeed, I believe, indicated and actual in the dial. This is your RWR, which is your radar warning receiver, and you can just adjust the brightness of it. You've got navigation by course. I don't really use that. It's only really useful if you're trying to land without your electronic systems, or you can't see. Here you got the pitch ball, and also navigation bars. We've got a side one and a there's another one that will come out if it's working properly, but it's not because I haven't got waypoints set up for it. A clock, just in case you're wondering how long you've been around, and I don't actually know what that one is. And your flap meter there, depending on how down your flaps. Then it goes to 20, doesn't go to 30%. I don't know, or 30 degrees. I don't know why that's on there. But that should be everything. We shall, now we've been cleared for takeoff, we'll taxi onto the runway. There's speed, a bit of power. You got your big yellow bar at the front, or 3 yellow bars at the front for fire, because you can catch fire, or you can shot at. Basically, you've got your fire extinguisher. You pull one, it'll light up which one's on fire, and then you flick the old fire extinguisher switch. You only get 2 shots of the fire extinguisher, left and right. So if you use both blasts of your fire extinguisher, you really need to stop getting shot at. You're pretty boned otherwise. My cat is trying to say hi on the mic and doesn't want to move. Big red button here will emergency eject your weapons. It'll just drop them. You can do it safely, but if you really need to get out of there and quick, you can just emergency dump them. And this is your countermeasures panel, so you don't have to look down to the right. You've got your jammer profile, how many chaff and flare you got, the current dispensement profile, and the current mode it's on. X is on standby. But we'll deal with that some other time. Right, my frame rate dies when looking at the runway, so we shall fully power up the aircraft and start rolling, using X and Z to stay in line with the runway. The A-10 flies in knots rather than kilometers an hour, so I think I'm probably wrong again, but once you get over 100, you can press insert to disengage steel wheel steering. Otherwise you might bust the front landing gear. I need to look where I'm going. Once you get high enough speed, that should be about good enough. You pull back and you'll take off. And G for gear, that'll get the gear in. A bit of a warning buzz. The aircraft's going to climb now. And you can bring the flaps up. And there, that is the takeoff procedure. So now we're flying about. You want to keep your speed above 170 if still possible, and frame rate's dying again. Sorry if this video is a bit laggy at times, my frame rate isn't the most stable, and the frame rate of this game isn't the most stable. You do need a fairly powerful machine to run it. Like all the settings on low except the textures. Yeah, you can't have the textures on low, otherwise you can't see all the writing on your control panels. Which makes it a little difficult to start the aircraft up. So yeah, we shall circle around and we'll come back into land at Kobaleti because they'll actually let me this time. I haven't picked up too much height, I'm at 2,000 feet. So we'll ask Kobaleti to let me land.
Kobaleti, Hog 5-1, inbound.
And we'll try that. I'm going to have to gain some distance.
Kobaleti, fly heading 233, 411, QFE 29.86, runway 07.
Runway 07 is the one we took off from, so we didn't come in the same direction. We shall contact the tower in a minute. I need to get some distance away from the old runway so I can actually safely land without ballsing up this time. We'll exit that out. We'll request landing in a minute. And as you can see, the aircraft doesn't like to fly straight. You can trim the aircraft by using the right control and comma, period, slash, I think it's a backslash, forward slash even, it's a forward slash, depending on what I'm on about, and the semicolon keys, the comma and the forward slash will do the wings left and right, and period and semicolon will do the nose up and down, just like W, A, S and T keys. And you don't want to trim too much, otherwise you'll just end up flying from one way to the other. To reset the trim on your aircraft, it's left control and T. So when you suddenly get another imbalance due to weapons or something, I'm actually going to safely eject my weapons. We shall do missiles first, which is the AGMs, and the fire weapons button is right alt and space, except that didn't work. Let's try that again. No, because they're not on green, because the master arm is off. There we go. Try again. There we go. That's one set, one pair, two pairs, three pairs. They'll just fly off and explode. Okay, safety eject. Right, we shall also dump our GBUs and our CBUs. We need to change it from missile to store, and we shall dump those. See, they drop, but they drop safe and not live. They won't explode, they'll just get splashed when they hit water. And we don't need to dump anything else. Back to stats and back to TAD. Right, we actually need to come back into the land. Right, we're a little far out. I'll press F6 to watch the weapons drop, but I just missed it. We need to come back round and that pulls us up. Slow down a bit now that we've dumped weapons. Stop climbing. We're at 6,000 feet now, which is not helpful when trying to land. This aircraft is much easier to control when using a joystick, but it's perfectly capable of doing it with a keyboard. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. And now the frame rate's dropped, so this is going to be a terrible landing. It's just, you're not going to be able to see a thing. This is going to be god-awful. Let's see if I am close enough to request a landing yet.
Request landing.
We're going to slow right back. We're going to put our flaps down. If I actually hit the right button. This aircraft does have air brakes. To deploy air brakes, it's left control B. You need to hold it so they deploy. It's not a switch. You have to. The longer you hold it, the more they deploy. We're going to request landing again as we get closer.
Request landing.
Still not listening to me, so I'm obviously not close enough. There's the runway. We will actually do it this time. We are getting a little slow, so I'm going to take away my air brakes with left shift and B. That puts them back down, so they're gone. And the cat's knocking the microphone again because he's being a pain in the arse. Get rid of him. He wants in the windowsill. Yep, there he goes. Dodgy cat. I'm trying to record, and you're ruining it for me. And we are coming in a little slow, so we're just going to speed up slightly. We need our gear down with G. I can get closer to the microphone now, so you might be able to hear me better. We're going to request a landing once more, because we should be in range now.
5-1, request landing.
There we go, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 07.
Even if I wasn't clear to land, I would be landing anyway. Don't have much choice in the matter, it's just more of a courtesy that I'm telling them. And the frame rate is at 17, so this might be a little bit jumpy on the video. We'll find out. Going to land about 170, which is a good speed to be landing at. We are, however, still a little high for our final approach. This little station here is the ILS station. It's the inner one.
Altitude, altitude.
And we're getting an altitude warning under 500 feet. Throttle back. We probably won't even need the air brakes at this route. If I was coming in quicker, I'd deploy the air brakes. They also help you to stop on the runway, which would be a good idea. So now we're coming in, flare up to level out. Flare up, there we go. And touchdown. Air brakes out. This doesn't have a drag chute, so you need the air brakes and the wheel brakes. Although if you're coming in at this speed, you probably won't need the wheel brakes. Well, not always. I'm going to wheel brake anyway. If you're coming in way too quick, you deploy the emergency wheel brakes to slow you down. Otherwise you'll go off the end of the runway like I did in the previous video. Once you get slow enough, you'll need to turn wheel nose steering back on with the insert key, and now that we are slow enough, we can get rid of the air brakes, otherwise we're going to hit them on the floor. And brake a bit harder, and don't turn whilst wheel braking because you'll skid. And we shall taxi. And that was a successful landing. A lot better than the SU-25, which I'm happy about because the A-10 is a bit more expensive to brake. Well, they're more expensive looking on the inside anyway. I forgot to mention up here you've got your G meter. And I don't think, actually, that must be the angle of attack. I'm not sure on that one. I'm sure someone can tell me what that meter is. Now, this tutorial isn't completely necessary because the tutorial that comes with A-10 is interactive and it does a very good job of telling you how to start the aircraft up. I'm going too quickly and my wheel brakes are not working, so this taxi might be a bit sideways. Oh yeah, stop sideways, look at that. There we go. Just about made it. And we can shut down. I'm not going to do the proper shutdown procedure because I don't know it. Basically we just turn the engines off with left alt and end, and right alt and end, not left alt, right alt and end, and right control and end, and now shut them down, which will turn the power off. And we can just close everything down. We can shut the master caution up. Basically just turn everything off. By the time you got to this point, you probably complete the mission, so you don't really need to do it. Oxygen off, inverter off. Yeah. Shut up. And then, not that one. And, yeah, the autopilot switches will flick off automatically, as will the SAS. The flaps won't come up because I'm a muppet and didn't turn them off. But that doesn't matter. Pilot heat, and then the battery, which is making that whirring noise. And we can open the canopy because the engines turn off really quickly on this one. And there you have it. That is a flight, a start-up, flight, and landing. Successful landing and parking. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. And I shall see you later.